It's Friday. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Shazwiyt, and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me yet again, and thank you so much for your continued support. If you're new to this channel and you're clicking on me for the very first time, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also turn on that post notification button so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. With that being said, let's get straight into today's content. Okay. You see, Alex, I said, the proper thing, okay? Are you happy we're back to the normal schedule? I just try to mix it up sometimes. I'm just being random, guys. It's Friday. I'm so happy. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm doing really good. Filming this video for you guys. Within the next 20 minutes or something, me and my friends are going somewhere. So, I'm trying to make sure that this video will be straightforward and as concise as possible. As I will be doing, as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be doing an album review of renowned rapper Kendrick Lamar's album, Good Kid, Mad City, which came out in 2012. I think it was around November, something like that, around October, November times, maybe December, but basically towards the end of the year. And it's crazy, to think that it's already been 7 years, wow. Like, I remember, this was the album that introduced me to Kendrick, and I think so many people had the same introduction to Kendrick through this album, through the song Swimming Pools, which was like his main, debut single for the album, the main commercial single, and, really showing off his artistic ability and just his great lyricism and rap skills and how, how well he just does on the mic as a whole. And so, this album is a very special album for me, due to the fact that it opened me up to hip-hop music. And, it was through this album that I actually started to listen to and process hip-hop music, and started listening to the lyricism. And also because growing up as a kid, of course, I did like rap, but it was just more like I would sing some of the lyrics, but it was just more about the beat. It is what really got me, what I was more into, Find me in the club and mama, a lot of rap music in the 2000s, because I grew up in the early 2000s, was a lot of club music, party sort of club vibes. And but I did pay attention to actual MCs, actual proper deep rap as well. Wasn't really paying attention to other rappers. I was I was just more into the more popular songs. But yeah, I was a kid, so I wasn't really feeding to, just to have a proper ear and to listen to the music. So let's get into it. I made sure that I wrote notes, and so I'm basically going to read through these, give you guys my notes, give you guys my take on this incredible album that truly opened me up to a whole new world that I was never really a part of, even though I was existing within it, but I was not living within it until I jumped onto this record. So let's get into it. Okay, so the album is basically an autobiography, that details how it is growing up as a good kid in a mad city, i.e. Compton, California, which is where Kendrick Lamar Duckworth is from. That's his full name, but it just goes by Kendrick Lamar, or K Dot, that's another nickname he has. This album was, in my opinion, I would say special for Kendrick because it felt like a torch was being passed on to him. By West Coast rap legends that came before him, like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, who also, Dr. Dre also had produced this album, Good Kid, Mad City, as well as actually rap on it too, on two songs, which are the song Compton and The Recipe. So, Dr. Dre is one of the biggest, people on the West Coast rap scene. He was a member of NWA, got his own solo career. His album, The Chronic, is one of those legendary West Coast albums and one of the biggest rap albums ever. So he it definitely felt like Kendrick had revived, hip-hop again, and sort of brought it to life, but not hip-hop in general, but West Coast hip-hop, because I feel like, you know, there was a time where the West Coast wasn't represented and there wasn't much sort of like really like good music coming out of there. Like the West Coast rap scene are probably like dimmed down a little or muted. There wasn't much happening there, and Kendrick sort of pushed, pushed the West Coast back into the limelight. And I feel like, Dr. Dre was revived by that too. He was like, wow, like, Kendrick, you're making me want to get back into the game again. Like, I love that. And, since then, Dr. Dre has released an album called Compton, and he's been getting back into it and helping produce other artists like Kendrick. So it's a really great thing that Kendrick has done. So, yeah. And so the first song on this album, entitled Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter, truly sets the tone for the record in that Kendrick's quest to go see Shireen, who is Master Splinter's daughter, but Master Splinter is like the character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he just uses that name as like a nickname for, her dad. So his quest to go try see this girl paints a picture of the Compton suburban setting. Shireen is a problematic girl that everyone in the hood knows and is famous for, as Kendrick says, quote unquote, she had the credentials of strippers in Atlanta. And Atlanta is like the place for sort of like stripping, this magic city, all of that kind of stuff, like dance clubs and stuff like that. So Shireen's family has a history of gang banging, and Kendrick has actually known Shireen for months. She's an actual person that Kendrick knew growing up. So I think she was okay with the fact that Kendrick wanted to use them as a big subject in his album, because he continues to talk about Shireen throughout many other songs in the album, and she is one of the themes that he plays around with on this record. Because this album is an autobiography, so it's basically about his life. And so when you talk about your life, you talk about the individuals that play a big role in your life, whether it be the people that taught you lessons in a bad or good way, or just people who, were impactful for your manhood or you growing up and all that stuff. So Kendrick would obviously mention someone like Shireen because she is tied to a whole bunch of other things he went through. Kendrick trying to see Shireen is symbolic of the struggle of maintaining your priorities as a good kid in a mad city. So as a good kid being Kendrick, in a mad city, Compton. Now, so it shows so basically the struggle of maintaining your priorities and trying to be a good kid while being tempted by prostitutes at every corner, gang violence and gang indoctrination versus religious righteousness. That has always been a big theme in Kendrick's discography, whether it be from Section 80 and probably his mixtapes before, all the way up to his most recent album, Down. What I also love about this album are the voice recordings that are constantly heard throughout this album, like his mom complaining about him leaving with the car, which is continuously brought up in the album as well, and her wanting to buy food stamps, which is a representation of the poverty that many African American homes face growing up in places like Compton, one of those sort of high density suburbs within the United States. And you hear his father Kenny saying he wants his Domino's, which at first I assumed was the pizza. Excuse me. But then I realized I think it's a nickname for some kind of drugs, but I'm not sure which drugs. I could have researched that, but I'm guessing it's drugs because in the later song on the album, his mom talks about how his father is like so high off the dominoes. So I was like, oh, is it like a reference for weed or some cocaine or something like that? Like I think it's a reference to some type of narcotic or drug or something. So in that same song, in Shireen, in that first song, his mom also says, his mom says, you keep fucking around in them streets, excuse my language, you keep fucking around in them streets, you ain't gonna pass to the next grade, the 11th grade. Yeah, so basically Kendrick really has to set his priorities. He shouldn't get caught up in that street life and should focus on his studies and advancing to the next level in bettering his life. Yeah. So, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, the next song, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, is an introspective reflection that Kendrick makes about his imminent rise to fame and how things will change. as well as the people around him. Because you know, when you have money, people tend to change. They want to be nice to you now. They want to like be different, and that's just how it is. Um, I also feel personally, I felt like in the song Kendrick was subtly using the Bible verse Matthew chapter 7 verse 3 to 5 that talks about how like why are you looking at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye when you don't look at the plank in your own eye? Since Kendrick is very much in touch with his Christian faith, he wants to hold onto it and let God protect and guide him as he navigates this newfound fame and commercial success. He's getting more success, he's becoming famous, he's getting into that limelight. He's not the same boy from Compton anymore who was a nobody that most people do not know about. Now it's becoming different for him. I mean, and he has to deal with all of these changes happening around him. But he wants to do it his own way. He wants to navigate the music business his own way as well, and he doesn't want people to judge him and say, oh, you're gonna get caught up in the drugs and all of this messed up stuff behind the music business and you're gonna be this crazy person and lose yourself. He doesn't want that. You know what? Nobody wants that. He wants to be the same Kendrick that he's always been. And so Kendrick has stayed being a private person. You know, he has a daughter. No one has seen pictures of the daughter or other pictures of his family. He's a very private person and he wants to maintain that. He wants, you know, to live his own life and doing his own thing and be the same person, you know? Um, since, yeah, I already talked about that. Kendrick stated in an interview with Complex magazine, he said, that's really one big subliminal at everybody getting mixed in a situation where everyone wants to have creative control. That's the vibe I wanted to kill. So, you know, I was talking about in referring to how, you know, musical freedom and his freedom to produce music the way he wants to, make music the way he wants to, is what he wants, and he doesn't want people to kill that vibe. Um, the next song, Backseat Freestyle, is like the most fun song on this album, I feel. It was so, drinking. I really like that. It's the most fun song on the album with an I don't give a fuck kind of attitude. Um, and also it's cool, like you see the dichotomy like of Kendrick versus Martin Luther's dream and how he thought his dream was, you know, to get money, sex, cars, all that stuff, but it's really not. But yeah, I found that funny actually. The transition in the song Art of Peer Pressure, the next song, um, I really liked it, going from an upbeat, silly, sort of subtly jazzy vibe, and he uses jazz a lot in his music and funk music, going from that silly jazzy vibe to a darker, serious tone. The lyrics that really got me on that song, on The Art of Peer Pressure, which, you know, sets the tone for the entire album about just peer pressure to do so many things that you don't necessarily want to do. He says, we seen three niggas in colors we didn't like, then started interrogating. I never was a gangbanger. Um, I never was a gangbanger. I never was a stranger to the funk neither. PHONK. Rush a nigga quick and then we laugh about it. That's ironic because I've never been violent. And so the word funk, spelled PHONK, is a term used by Pyru Bloods, where Kendrick grew up. So Kendrick grew up in West Side Pirate territory. As you know, it's the whole Bloods and Crips sort of gang violence thing that's going on, and Kendrick was indoctrinated into that. It's hard to avoid that when you stay in a place like Compton growing up in this time. I don't know how it is now, but I know especially during the 90s, it was like at its peak. Um, then the next song, Money Trees, is definitely the most easygoing song, like sonically wise, like the sound. I love it. Me and my niggas try to get it, you bitch. It was a really cool song. Um, yeah, I really liked it. But in terms of the message, it recounts one of many dangerous endeavors that Kendrick went through. He says home invasion was persuasive. From 9 to 5, I know it's vacant. So how, you know, he planned with his homies, with guys that we know that this house, the person isn't here from this time because they're out at work, so we can go rob the house, get in. They usually leave their back door open, stuff like that, like planning how to, you know, steal and do all of this crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times these guys have nothing else to do but to just cause trouble. You know, it's a chilled sort of LA vibe, you know what I mean? Like California, it's, you know, chilled time. It's not like New York where everybody's on the move and doing anything. Not that there isn't violence in New York, by the way, there is, but it's like, you know, come to it, like, but anyway. Um, at the end of Money Trees, Kendrick's mom is complaining about him not returning the van again, not returning the car. His father is now high off the dominoes. So yeah, cool song. So then the next song, like Poetic Justice. Poetic Justice is like the sexy R&B song of the album. I think Poetic Justice refers to Kendrick saying he wants to receive justice for his lyrics in sex. Girls love poetry, so that's a great way to impress them. Poetic Justice Poetic Justice could also have been a play off of the actual film Poetic Justice, released in the 90s with Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur. And Tupac is like one of the most famous West Coast rappers, which is ironic because he's from New York. But yeah, he's someone that Kendrick definitely looks up to, and a lot of people look up to, even still to this day. People love Tupac. Now Shireen's brothers are getting aggressive with Kendrick because when he gets to Shireen's house, his brothers are there in the hooded figures, and that's talked about in the first song, so shit is getting real. The story, as you can tell, it's literally, this album is a story and it's going in order, which is cool. So in the song Good Kid, Kendrick is indoctrinated into gang culture by Shireen's brothers, who are also, a part of that, and realizes he doesn't want to be a part of it, and he comes to that realization, and now he's trying to fall back from what he thought he wanted. And then in the song Mad City, Kendrick recounts some of the crazy stuff he's witnessed in Compton that include his cousin's murder in 1984, and the shootings that happen, all the crazy stuff that happens in Compton. When the beat switches up in the song, he talks about being a security guard for a month and being fired because he was inspired by his friends to stage a robbery at the place of work. It's crazy, guys. It's insane. But he brings you into his world. He wants you to get a picture of get a sense of like all the stuff that happened. He follows the rules of the hood. He says it's safe to say that our next generation will sleep, which I think is him saying that I think our generation, young people now will change that and will reduce the violence. Yeah, the next generation will sleep with the dreams of being a lawyer or a doctor. They can fulfill those dreams. Instead of boy with a chopper, that hold the cul-de-sac hostage. So instead of getting caught up in gang violence and shooting people and holding people hostage. Kill them all if they gossip, which I interpreted that lyric as him saying keep kids from learning wrong things and stop talking about these things, because the more you talk about it, the more you spread the message and popularize it. Then you got the swimming pool, song. That's like the party song, the debut song. Do need to get more into that? It's a cool song. Then I love the song Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, which I could, say is like my favorite song off this album. It's the longest song that I ever listened to, but I love that. I was like, a 12-minute song. What the heck is he talking about? So it's basically two songs in one. In the song Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, he talks about just how, if I don't make it, if I die, please tell everybody my words. Please talk about how, I did all that I can, keep the family together, all this other stuff. Sing about me. You know what I mean? Sing about me. Sing my struggles. Sing my trials and tribulations. Sing about how I got through what I got through, and spreading that message and encouraging people. And then it transitions to the song I'm Dying of Thirst. At the end you hear Maya Angelou when, he gets baptized and he gives his life to the Lord. As his Christian faith always plays a big part in him as a person, and but plays a big theme in all of his, in all of his albums, and obviously including this one. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. I love that song, and I memorized the lyrics without even knowing them. I woke up this morning and figured I'd call you in case I'm not here tomorrow. I'm hoping that I can borrow a piece of mind. I could go on. And it's funny because this song is about halfway through the album, and this is when the album transitions to a more hopeful, happy songs that look to the future. Instead of that darker, more real tone, now it's getting more upbeat and we're going on a high. Yeah, and so you have the song next that's like, the next song is the song Real featuring Anna Wise, and it's like the love song of the album, talking about love and relationships. It's funny because in this song, it's talking about, he's talking about himself for the purpose of encouraging realness in relationships. I love what Kendrick's father says in the song, where he says, any nigga can kill a man, that don't make you a real nigga. Real is responsibility. Real is taking care of your motherfucking family. Real is God, nigga. And I love that. I love Kendrick's dad. How, there's always that stereotype of how African American fathers aren't always there for their sons, but he's always there. And even though it might sound like he's, some crazy person or he likes to have fun, he's also there for his son and doesn't want his son to get caught up in things that he doesn't want to get caught up into either. So, I thought that was cool too. Again, his mother in the song complains about the car again, which, comes through. And at this point, I was thoroughly convinced that him going back home is symbolic of him leaving the world and not being a part of this world and being unequally yoked. And returning to his good foundation of being at home and being grounded in his studies and in himself as a person doing his music thing and ignoring that so he can focus and make the best of himself and the best product. She talks about how TDE, Top Dog Entertainment, the record label that Kendrick has been with forever, wants him to come to the studio with him and Dave, whoever Dave is, and she hopes he takes the music business seriously, and it's awesome to know that she supports his dream. She wants him to become a man and learn from his mistakes and to tell his story to the black and brown kids in Compton. Let them know he was like them, but you still rose from the dark place of violence. So honestly, the album could have ended here, to be honest, because that's the whole point of it, is showing how he came from that, but he rose out of it, rose out of Compton, and the story continues. In Compton, in the song Compton, he and Dr. Dre pay tribute to the city that raised them, that made them who they are. And then in the song Recipe featuring Dr. Dre again, he and Dr. Dre pay tribute to LA as a whole, since Compton is part of the greater LA area. Talking about the things that people come to LA for that they love, which is the women, weed, and the weather. I know about the weed and the weather, people love that. Not sure about the women. I see beautiful women everywhere, but yeah, sure, let's go with the women. Them California girls, I don't know. This is technically where the album ends, but there are bonus tracks in the deluxe edition where bonus tracks that include the song Black Boy Fly, which focuses on Kendrick seeing people from his neighborhood or other people succeeding, and he wants to do the same, and he's jealous of that, but that jealousy drives him, becomes a driving force in him wanting more and pushing the pen and, getting his stuff out and being the famous rapper and person that he is now. Yeah, and then in the song Now or Never, it's a fun song, and I'm happy that he collabed with Mary J. Blige, the queen of hip-hop soul. He's acknowledging his success in reaching a peak, the first of many, to be honest, in my opinion, because To Pimp a Butterfly was up there, jam, really great album, but To Pimp a Butterfly, masterpiece. He's been doing his thing, he's super famous, getting those #1 albums, #1 hit, working with other great artists like Mary J. Blige, and all these other famous rappers and all that stuff. Other bonus tracks include the song Collect Calls, which is like taking the last, I guess, like new song on the album, different song on the album. And it's basically another anecdotal piece about a friend of Kendrick's called Dante who was facing jail time. So collect call to prison, pretty much. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's basically my review of the album, which is an incredible autobiography. I hope you guys join me for the very next video, and I'll be doing more album reviews, including reviewing Kendrick Lamar's other discography. With that being said, thank you so much for joining me. Have an awesome weekend. Mwah. I love you, Shazwiyt gang, and I am